Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going over my deck. We're going over a deck profile from Mutants. So, let's get right into it. Alright, so Mutants. I found them interesting, so I made a deck out of it. And yeah, so far it's done pretty well. I mean, I don't take it to tournaments. There really isn't any that matches my time, so here we go with the deck profile. So first, sorry for the glare. I'm using a LED light right above it. So Ghost Ogre. I use 2 copies. I could use Ash Blossom, but so far I've found these ones work pretty well. And yeah, I mean, I could change it for Ash Blossom, but they work so far pretty well, so I'm not gonna change it. Then Mutant Mist. Great card. Do I use any of the effects belonging to Mist, Arsenal, and Beast? Not really, unless they're convenient. But usually it's because I already have the fusion ready, so there's no need for it. And that's mostly why I don't use it. So Mutant Mist is a great card. Mutant Arsenal. Each one has an effect for either monsters, spells, or traps. It differs with each one, and then sub-effects if you complete. It's very hard to focus. So yeah, 2 copies of Mutant Arsenal. Now I see people playing 1, 3, or whatever. Well, it's because the reason I play 2 is because I've played deck profiles of other people and how they made it and how they built it, and I didn't like the way it was playing. It wasn't fast enough, it wasn't good enough for me, so I changed it up, and 2 copies of each monster found their way into the deck. Dimensional Shifter, perfect card for beginning hand. You send it to the graveyard, you banish it. Perfect card. Very cheap too, so yeah. Prismatic, I love my shiny cards like secrets and stuff, so yeah, great card. I play 3 copies just in case. Now Mutant ST46. Now this one searches for spells and traps, as said right there, and then you can tribute either a spell, trap, or monster to summon Beast, Arsenal, or Mist, depending on which one. You probably won't be able to see it, but there it is. And of course you gotta play 3 copies of these. If you don't play 3 copies, then it's an issue. Well, it's not an issue, it's just you're gonna have a very, very tough time. Now, Mutant searches for monsters, and for some reason I paused because I don't know why. So Mutant MO5 does the same thing, but searches for monsters, and then has the same effect. There we go. And it takes a while, but that's all the monsters in the deck. Do not worry, I will try to remember to add the deck profile down below so you guys can just copy and paste and put it on TCG Player, or just easier for you guys. So let's go with spells. So of course I only play 1 copy of Terraforming, 1 copy of Terraforming to search Mutant Evolution Lab, and then 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't always use it, but it's there. And then Dimensional Fissure. Any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Great. It's great for mutants because, well, for Mutant Evolution Lab, because you get 100 attack points for each one of a different name. But the problem is, if you have Mutant Ultimus, you can't use it to negate monster effects because all the monsters are not in the graveyard. So, Emergency Teleport, great freaking card. I wish we had this at 3. I wish. Great card for, well, this deck. I mean, especially if you don't got anything first turn, you use it, you get your game going. Instant Fusion, great card. I only use it to summon Winda once in a while because that's the only one that came up to mind. I used to run Shadow Mutants, but it just didn't work out as well as I wanted to, so I was like, take out the rest, just leave Instant Fusion, and we just use that 1 monster for that 1 turn. Works so far. Next, Mutant Fusion. From your hand and field, you banish the materials, and you're able to fusion summon the boy, either Mutant Synthesis or Mutant Ultimus. So great card. I use 3 copies because sometimes you just really need them. Mutant Evolution Lab. If you have a mutant monster in your hand, you can also put it at the bottom of the deck to draw 1 card. But the first effect for every, the main effect, you will use it for 2 things. An extender, to special summon a level 4 or lower monster from the banished zone to the field. So you can even extend even further, meaning that as long as you didn't use any of the monster's effects, being ST or MO5. So it'll work well if you haven't activated that turn. So yeah, and then of course next is for every banished mutant card with different names, you get 100 more attack. Great, because it's happened before where I used it and my monster was at like 42 or 56 or something. I think it was at 42. I don't remember exactly. But then I use There Can Only Be One. Now this deck is modified to play against Star Duelist decks, but once in a while I change the cards just if I find another way. So There Can Only Be One, of course you guys know what this is and how good it is. No need for me to explain. Solomon Judgment, it's for his tricky kaijus, because kaijus just are a pain in the butt. And I've used this 3 times in a turn. So yeah, it works. Okay, Mutant Cry. It's Mutant Fusion, but recycles cards. So yeah, it uses from the field, graveyard, and face-up banished, and then you shuffle them back into your deck. So you're recycling cards if you're a fusion summon. And it's amazing because if you use Mutant Fusion enough, then you'll get to use Mutant Cry and shuffle that back in. And it's great card. It's a great card. And of course I use 3 copies of it because it's an amazing card that for mutants that should always be run at 3, because if you don't, let's just say it won't always work out. Mutant Expansion, great extender. What you do with this one, you place it, and if for some reason it's not focusing. Okay, there we go. But okay, so you would play Mutant Expansion. You would search for this, special summon it, MO5, and then with MO5's effect, you would search and then normal summon ST46, and then you would search other stuff with it. But then you would banish this, and then, discard that, banish this to summon Arsenal onto the field, and with this one you would search a fusion. And because they're 2 different elements for synthesis, being water and fire, you would summon Mutant Synthesis onto the field. And it's a great combo that I always use, and yeah. So Mutant Expansion, I use it at 3 because it's an amazing card that should be used. Now there's more to an effect that it can protect level 8 or higher monsters, but I don't use it for that effect. So yeah, we've gone over everything, so let's go over the extra deck. So of course, let's go over the other monsters. So of course I use Winda. Who doesn't know what Winda does at this point? I use 3 copies of Winda, of course. Do I always use it? Not really. And then I use number 38, Hope Harbinger Dragon, Titanic Galaxy. Great card. It absorbs cards, and that's mostly all I can remember what the card can do. Other than that, I can't really remember much. Heretic Sun Dragon. Oh, some of these are just generic level rank 8s. Like this one, I had it and I've always wanted to use it. This is the original copy, limited edition from the set. Thank you, Juan, for giving it for my birthday. He actually got me the tin, and he knew how much I loved Heretics. So yeah, I still want to build a Heretic deck, but I want to build a version that I actually like. So Heretic, I don't really use them that much. If I do use them, it's not for the effect, it's for the attack. But yeah, and then Dingirsu, I don't think I've ever used this guy, to actually, in effect, I've used him for his attack mostly. Uh, and that's mostly it. I used him for flex. Um, and that, I mean, even though he's a cheap card, but. And then, of course, I play 3 copies of Mutant Synthesis. Mutant Synthesis. I can't say it for some reason. When it's fusion summoned, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. It's an amazing card, and of course 2 mutant monsters with different attributes. So it's really easy to get it, so you just have to make sure you know what you're doing. Of course there's more where he can go immune to a certain version of a card, so monster, spell, and trap. So he can be immune to one of those effects for 1 turn, but you can't just switch it mid-turn or something like that, unlike Mutant Ultimus, as long as you have the materials for it. And it's a great card. It can be destroyed very easily, but it's an amazing card to use. Next is Mutant Ultimus. I use 3 copies of that and 3 copies of that. So Mutant Ultimus is 3 level 8 higher mutant monsters, and when a card effect is activated, you can banish 1 mutant card from your hand graveyard face up on the field with the same type, monster, spell, or trap, negate the activation, and if you do, banish that card. And it doesn't say once per turn, so that's the most amazing part about Ultimus. And if this fusion summon card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can add up to 3 banished mutant cards, each of monster, spell, and trap, and you can only use this effect once per turn. But everything else is free game. Of course, you can only destroy a monster once per turn. I mean, you can't destroy it twice, unless there's 2 of them on the field, of course. There's nothing wrong with the card, it's just smudge. But yeah, Mutants and Despia reminded me of that, because some of the Despia fusion cards actually remind me of the Mutants, and that's why I'm interested in maybe making Mutant Despia. But then I found out there was Despia Dark Lord, so I was like, Dark Lords? I love Dark Lords. It's like, yes, I want to build that now. But I'll see, my friend opened a case, he has all the cards for it, so I can just hit him up, be like, yo, I want to build a deck. Let me buy some cards. So yeah, that is my mutant deck profile. And I mean, some people won't like it, some people will. I personally love it because it just works for me. And so far it's run pretty well. So that is it for now. Thank you all for watching. And until next time. Why is there stupid blur right there?